Good evening, kindred. I am Teranz, and welcome back to more Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. Last time we finished running an errand for Sophie, as well as helped Tamika more, and now we are resting for the night. I just wanted to wait in case there was another... Oh. There is a lot of stuff. Let's do this. The streetlights filter into the apartment in a stark white glow, as if someone were shooting a movie outside. The art pieces display a tasteful expense entirely fitting the image you have of Sophie. It feels as if 1,000 sins have been committed on these premises, most of them under her benevolent hospitality. Sophie comes to greet you as you enter the living room, shaking her head. You understand that people judge me based on how you dress, don't you? Sophie looks at your clothes as if resigned to your sartorial limitations. I've tried to dress inconspicuously because of the masquerade. That's very sensible of you. I suppose I should commend you for that. Sophie walks to the window and looks out, the streetlights playing on her features. She reminds you of a queen contemplating the unfortunate limitations of her subjects. You think that, as a vampire, at least we wouldn't have to worry about the vultures of the press. Unfortunately, when you have power and ability, there are always parasites trying to feed on you. Is there a reporter after you? Yes, a terribly persistent creature. Sophie steps away from the window and settles down on the sofa, a wine glass with red liquid in it, blood, treated as not to spoil. You've become good at noticing the scent, even from a distance. She doesn't offer you any as you cautiously sit down across from her. This awful man has been stalking my apartment with a camera. He's gone through my trash, talked to my neighbors. Please be a dear and explain to him that there's nothing for him here. Is this about the masquerade? That's a big deal for us, right? Indeed, you're learning. This must have happened often. How do you usually deal with it? Everyone has their own ways. Sometimes the problem goes away with a bit of money or sharp words. Other times you need something more. Do you know anything about this reporter? Man, woman, young, old, anything like that? All gossip reporters look the same to me. Time for you to go. I have business to attend to. You leave the apartment as Sophie disappears into another room. You don't have a clear idea of the game she plays with the city's mortals and immortal power structures. But she always seems to be making a move. Outside on the street, there's a slight warm drizzle, the kind that gets under your clothes and makes you want to take a shower when you get back to your own haven. No reporters immediately jump out to you. I'll investigate. We start with the basics of investigative work. Ask the proprietor of the bodega around the corner, the homeless man sleeping in a nearby doorway, and the doorman of another building if whether they've seen anyone strange. Detective work produces results. You get the description of a man who sounds like a reporter. Older, overweight, pasty, and in bad physical condition. Professional camera. Once you know what you're looking for, it's not difficult It's not difficult. You spot a man who matches the description and follow him. You enter an alley, a dark, dingy space between two tall buildings. Once upon a time, a place like this might have worried you. Now it makes you think of muggings and violence. Now it's clear that the most dangerous thing here is you. The man you are following seems to realize this too. He holds his camera in front of him like a shield. Its heavy objective resting on his paunch. The start, you recognize it. You remember the face, the shaded sunglasses from a picture next to a byline in some trashy paper you're reading to kill time. Something about celebrities, scandal, sex. His name is Frank Doherty. You saw him on the street one time with the camera outside a nightclub, probably waiting for someone important to come out so he can take their picture. Hey, don't go scaring people like that. You're Frank Doherty. I recognize you from that thing. You're a fake reporter, right? I'm a real reporter, damn it. Lost scoops here in this dirty alley. You can't be a journalist if you're not willing to get your hands dirty. Do you live here? I'm working on a story about a local resident. Her name is Sophie Langley. Everybody knows her in high society circles. She's a redhead, pretty as a picture, and there were a lot of pictures of her throughout the years. That's the thing, in fact. Look at this. Frank pulls out his phone and starts showing you pictures. Some have been downloaded from news sites, while others are photos from the society pages of newspapers from past decades. All show Sophie. She has different clothes, hairstyles, makeup, names, but the face remains the same. That's strange. What do you think is going on? Beats me. That's what I'm here to find out. You must have a theory about what's happening. I have a theory too. Before I print my theory, I need facts to back it up. 3 words. Extreme plastic surgery. All the celebrities do it. Only her doctor's better than the rest. You look critically at the photos on Frank's phone. You think she's like 70 and plastic surgery makes her look 30? I mean, Frank, buddy, no surgeon is that good. Frank looks deflated. He probably already arrived at the same conclusion. Despite his greasy appearance, he is a reporter after all. So how would you explain it? Have you considered the possibility that those pictures are a hoax? Sure, anything can be a hoax, but I dug up those papers from the archives myself. I gotta have something usable. Yeah, he's probably used to both, but... The powers of the blood make kindred fearsome killers. Looking at Frank, you decide that you can administer this beatdown without help from your undead nature. This was the wrong moment to develop professional pride. Punch Frank in the mouth. Perhaps the most important thing about your new vampiric existence is getting used to violence. You have to hunt, defend yourself. Frank falls down on one knee. This is not defending yourself. Please, don't. You smack Frank across the face. Feel his perspiration sticking to your skin. Blood wells from his mouth and you have a sudden urge to bite down and drink. Sophie probably wouldn't appreciate a corpse in an alley next to her home, so you restrain yourself. Frank is on all fours on the wet ground. Pick up his camera and casually fling it into a wall. The telefoil lens breaks off. Oh my god, please, don't. Stay away and this won't happen again. Run. Frank staggers upright and runs out of the alley as best as he's able, leaving his ruined camera behind. You look after his receding figure, wondering if he'll have the courage to return. Well, that was fun. What? Do I just want to keep working on Tamika? Do I want to work with someone else? And I think I'm just going to keep. Actually, we'll do Somebody's Watching. Someone's following you around. Has been for a few nights, maybe longer. That can't be a good thing. The only question is, what do you do about it? You venture out to the street with the goal of letting your stalker know that you're aware of being followed. It's time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining outside as you step onto the street in front of your haven. You wonder whether that'll help. Will you be able to see the footprints of your stalker in the puddles on the ground? Not sure where to start, you slip a few bills to a homeless man and chat up the guy who runs the local bodega. Both of them talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around. Oh, man. But none of their stories seem right to you. Sorry, I just want to adjust my mic slightly. There we go. All right. Walking the streets, you're convinced by turns that everyone you see is an enemy agent out to get you, and that your stalker has decided to take the night off. Frustrated after a couple of hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A courier on a motorbike zooms towards you and has no time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in front of him. For a split second, your eyes meet those of the man on the bike and you both know you'll collide. You'll get hurt. Something hits you, pushing you forward. You tumble, flying to the sidewalk as the courier zooms past. You feel a weight on your back. Catch a glimpse of something, a person. Female, you think, and she disappears. You could spend a couple more hours trying to find the woman who's been stalking you. But in your shriveled, undead heart, you know it to be futile. She's gone. Alright, I guess that is it. So I will rest and... Man, it's been kind of a short day. Kadir al-Asami, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at your haven door. The sight comes as more than a little shocking. If he had any business with you, you'd either expect to see him inside or already inside, or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. Carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening. May I come in? Simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as permission. Once he's inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. Haven't really had time to make this place your own yet, have you? Feels like Langley's apartment, through and through. A secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on the shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner, aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of spirit, next to all this garbage poetry. We can make a bet. If she's read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. The kind of place that self-professed hermits entomb themselves in to suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he's made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight or flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic way to answer his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything was changed forever. Waking up in hell with a body next to you, spending the night in that underground sweatbox, unsure of what will happen next. That endless car ride. 3 strikes. Bloodthirsty crowd. That blade. A rebirth. A baptism by fire. A frightening executioner who made sure the flames guard your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he's read the emotions from yours. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries. There's no animosity in his voice, he's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you, and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts, making their feelings and affinities plain for everyone to see. But that obviously remains a pipe dream. This is a community born of conspirators, overly ambitious gangsters, and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires that make them incompatible with the Masquerade, incompatible with the prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I use to operate. And so, I am doomed to be like a cop. Constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for a good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone but constantly lied to about everyone's past and motivations, even if my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice, a voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the why done it is far more important than the who done it or the how done it. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course, the kindred know it, so they devised ways to make my job much harder, just like conspiracies between two unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's back for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall. Boss serving their employee, a rebel serving a tyrant, just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? You are surrounded by unclear motivations, which you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. This monologue has gone on for long enough. Why are you here? What's this about? Finally, you manage to raise your voice. Kadir notices the effort and smiles softly. So, you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you? Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to better fulfill my obligations. Last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you've been accepted into the Camarilla, what choice do I have? I'd understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of the New York City community, and as long as you're a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. Well, that's not menacing at all. Who is he talking about? You mean someone I'm trying to recruit into my coterie? Kadir shakes his head. I'm monitoring them and they know it. If they're breaking the rules, they're doing it the right way, meaning I haven't learned about it yet. Unless you might want to share something. A moment of awkward silence. Joking, mostly. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Jessica Lowell, the one who made the last few years of your life heaven, the last few weeks a living hell. Since she took pretty much everyone you knew with her after the split, thought the transition to this life would be painless. No baggage at all. Have you thought wrong? You look up at Kadir expecting answers. There are some unfortunate rumors that you committed suicide after a messy breakup. So apparently Miss Jessica here is desperately mobilizing everyone she knows to look for you. Turns out she contacted a lot of people who might recognize you, including some in law enforcement agencies. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent. Which means she must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you forsake. I'll arrange what? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, takes care of unfinished business, and disappears, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, clean, no contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims. It gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe. When neonates interact with kind, they usually they used to hold dear. Their true natures are laid bare for everyone to see. Of course, he's invested in being kind, or he's making clear his self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring them out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. Shake your head. Very well. I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the door on you. God damn it, you need to think this through. For a long time, you just sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, remembering how you once thought your world had ended with her leaving. Whining, sure, it seemed like it was a prescient whining. Alright, I think this is good enough for the episode. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that. Sorry, I'm trying to not do the whole like, comment, subscribe spiel, even though I just said it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time with more Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York.